Hi, it's Robert Mitchell at the 2010 Fan Expo, and earlier in the year I came across a statistic from the Globe and Mail that in 2009 the Canadian box office made $1.01 billion. Out of that money, Canadian films is only 3%, and I can bet you that the percentage of Canadian independent horror films was even less than that 3%. And earlier in the year, I was at the Royal in May, and I came across a film called Long Pigs, which I absolutely fell in love with. I thought it was one of the best horror films I've seen this year. And I happened to have Chris and Anthony with me, who are some of the filmmakers behind the film. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
So, as I said, I just kind of discovered your film through Facebook, and went up to the Royal, saw it, fell in love with it, thought it was great. And for the viewers out there that haven't really seen or heard of the film, could you describe what the film's about?
Sure. Well, it's basically a mockumentary about two hapless filmmakers who think they found their ultimate documentary subject in a fully functioning cannibalistic serial killer played by Anthony right here.
You know, you want to surprise your victim too, right? Because if they have time to, like, if they know what's coming, they panic, the adrenaline starts going, and it just totally taints the meat. Yeah, you can taste it.
And I also came across the film through the Awesome Eye Weekly article, and it's been quite a journey for you guys to make this film. 7 years, a lot of money. Could you describe some of the process of, you know, making your film and why it took so long and there's trials and tribulations?
Yeah, that wasn't the plan to take 7 years, that's for sure. You know, the first part, of course, is the shooting, which when you have no money, you better have time. So we shot most of it in 2003. We're doing pickups for, I guess, a couple of years after that. Finally finished the film properly in 2007. And distribution was a whole other sad, horrible tale filled with sleepless nights and arguments between executive producers and ourselves. You know, my basic advice for anybody who's got the DIY film out there is don't wait for somebody to come and write you a check for $1 million. Just get the film out there and let it do its work.
Well, as you were saying, we were talking about just prior to turning on the cameras, you were talking about Facebook and Twitter and how that's really aided your film.
We couldn't have, we wouldn't be here without it, literally. You know, that's how you found out about it, and it's, you know, it's been the savior for our film, really. I mean, it's been a heck of a lot of work, but it's really our #1 way of marketing, and internet's been our best friend, really.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and the number of, like, you know, sites, genre websites that just like plow through everything that's released, and you know, that just gave us a chance just to be seen, let alone like for people to like it. So yeah, I think I would 20 years ago it was impossible.
And you know, one thing that I really noted in your film was your performance as the lead was absolutely phenomenal. As I said, it was very charismatic, and then once you find out what this guy's up to, you're like completely horrific. And I think part of the horror of it is you like this guy. He's charismatic in that. Can you talk about your performance, your research and whatnot to get to that?
It's funny because we did, you know, actually Chris like put together like a big, you know, black book of all these cases of serial killers and cannibals and everything, and I actually just like, that was all great to sort of learn the technique, as it were, but I thought the most interesting thing about it, the way about it, was to like keep it totally natural and really be, you know, how the old thing about the serial killers, like the guy next door, and you know, no one thought it was him. I thought taking that to an extreme where he's actually like very likable and arrogant, but very naturalistic, you know, and that's the way we shot it too. It was most of the times, like when it was just my scene, when it's just me on camera, it was just Chris and Nathan and me in the kitchen basically cooking.
You guys had a bigger crew here that we were shooting for most of the movie, quite frankly.
It was pretty intimate, and like it just became like talking to friends pretty much.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking just prior to this also is that's what it felt like. It was very intimate. You got to know your character, and you were just hanging out with you in the kitchen. And then once you go into the basement, which the special effects that you guys got for that film, Gaslight Studios, I believe, did the special effects. How did you guys come across and meet those guys?
That was, I got to give props to Chris Bridges, who's the nicest and most talented guy you're going to ever meet in the industry. And to be quite honest, we had given the job to somebody else who wasn't quite up to it. You know, the first time I got to set and looked at our first body, it looked like a giant baked ham. I was like, oh my God, can we shoot this silhouette? Can we shoot it in the dark? Can I shoot it from across the street? But we went to Chris Bridges and basically begged, and he has said before that, you know, the reason why he really did it for us is because we didn't go in there and try to hustle him and say, oh, we're going to have 10 movies down the road and get you all kinds of work. We just went in there with like puppy dog eyes and said, please help us. And he did. You know, if you're honest with people, you can really find great talent. And then, you know, the fact that he had worked with real directors like Zack Snyder and George Romero and M. Night Shyamalan didn't hurt. You know, the guy's he saved our movie, literally.
It's pretty cool. He worked with he's worked with like top Hollywood people and all that, but with us, I mean, he was literally like in the basement, like hiding behind a furnace, like getting with like bottles of blood to like squirt out. And so yeah, he certainly wasn't above getting dirty.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
And so the film's obviously got distribution. You're on Netflix and that. Can you talk about that and maybe opportunities for other people to see this film?
Well, yeah. If you're in Canada here, you can check it out at Blockbuster or Rogers On Demand. Amazon, of course, HMV you can get it at. It's really been a dream come true, just the fact that anybody can see it, period, because 6 months ago, if I had had a fire in my house, all the negatives in the computer would have burned and there would be no movie. It's really, it came that close to being on the shelf forever. So the fact that people can go, or even just go to longpigsthefilm.com, and we can hook you guys up with a copy. But it's ecstatic. It's a dream come true. Very surreal too.
Yeah.
So, and I was wondering, so you're working on getting this film out to the public, to people to see it and that. Are you guys working on something now? And you obviously learned a lot from this film. You could take that and do a new film.
We sure did. You know, as quiet as it's kept, we might be working on Long Pigs 2, quite frankly. But we've certainly, you know, learned a lot, and you know, we're hoping that our next film takes 7 months, not 7 years.
Yeah.
That's the main plan right now, is to get it done. But we both, Nathan, who's the co-director, and myself have a few projects that we're getting on the go.
Yeah,
and Anthony's getting more work.
I love the you know, the whole horror genre. I really only knew the surface of it before this movie, and like, it's very cool. I'd love to do more in that genre, and I love the idea too, like Long Pigs, sort of keeping it. You know, is it real? Is it not real? I don't know. It's one of the few ways you can kind of maybe get an edge on people these days. Like, people are so savvy, especially horror fans. They sort of know what's coming. So, I don't know. I'd like to sort of definitely experiment with that a little more.
All right. Well, it was great meeting you guys.
It was a real pleasure, Rob. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right.